Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Eagles Latest on Fan Arch. I'm your host, Blake McQueary, and another episode, another tough night for Phillies fans. Obviously, the Phillies losing to the Dodgers, but we are not here to talk about the Phillies. We are here to talk about the Eagles, as you guys know that, of course. And their loss tonight to the New York Giants, 34-17. Yes, that score is correct. 34-17. Eagles lose two straight now, sitting at a 4-2 record after last night's loss in New York. I'm just gonna cut straight to the chase with this one. There's not gonna be much stats in this in this episode. There's not gonna be a lot of numbers flying at you. There's just going to be a lot of facts. The first one up is the offensive line. This Eagles offensive line looks one of the worst in the NFL. And obviously, this O-line unit went from being one of the best units heading into the season now looking like one of the worst. I think a lot of people can attest and see after last night, it's very bad. Very bad. I understand Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, both of those guys hurt makes a huge difference, but my goodness, this offensive line looks terrible. Lane Johnson, they need to get him back ASAP. He is very important to winning the two games that he has not played in. You can see the results. That is how important Lane Johnson is to this football team, this offense, and this O-line, and this run game. Landon Dickerson, I've had my opinions on his status and his health. I've had my opinions on his, I don't even know what to call it, him coming back to playing. I think I mentioned it maybe last week. Landon Dickerson was rushed back, should not have been playing week one. I remember mentioning that in an episode before the Dallas game that he shouldn't have been playing in that Dallas game. There was no reason for him to play in that Dallas game. And you can see the effects of that now. Obviously, I know a lot of the O-line have talked about the effects of the tush push and the wear and tear their bodies took in their Super Bowl run last year. Another effect of their health and what they look like. But it's unacceptable. The way that they are giving up and missing blocks. The run game is not effective because blocks just aren't being made. Shifts aren't being made by the offensive coordinator, who we'll talk about in a little bit. It's overall, it's not good. And last night was the clear-cut example of what this offensive line looks like right now and what they are. And it's bad. They're bad. Hurts was running for his damn life out there on Metfield turf. On MetLife field turf. He was running for his life. That's not a good combo. The sacks, they gave up 3 sacks. 2 of those were to Brian Burns. Brian Burns was just absolutely getting after him. He was having him a ball with that with that offensive line. Yeah, Brian Burns was having a good time out there. And the offensive line needs to get better. Jeff Stoutland, I don't know what he needs to do, but he needs to do something in practice. I don't know. I mean, it's like you got to take it with a grain of salt because, like I said, the injuries are there. Having 2 of your best guys out is not ideal. I get that, but it can't look that bad. It just can't. The run game cannot be that ineffective. You have Saquon Barkley back there. You cannot have a run game that is that ineffective that it is right now. So I just I don't understand it. I really don't. But yeah, something's got to be done about the offensive line. That's my first note, is the offensive line. Second note, physicality. physicality last night lacked. Like, huge. Huge. It stood out from the opening drive to the second Jackson Dart took a kneel to end the game and win the game for the Giants. The physicality was terrible by this Philadelphia Eagles team. I mean, just straight lacked. First note on physicality: tackle Cam Scatabo. Like, tackle him. I understand he's a hard runner. I understand he has a power back. He's tough. He runs through people's faces. But tackle the guy. Tackle him. It's not that hard. I mean, you see Zach Bond's getting lifted off both feet. I've never seen Zach Bond get lifted off both feet with my two eyes in my life. He got lifted off 2 feet. And then Adoree Jackson, what are you doing? Just absolutely smoked a tackle on Scatabo. On Scatabo's second touchdown. I mean, what, you think running almost full speed and hitting him with your right shoulder, just your right shoulder, is going to put Cam Scatabo on the ground? That's concerning. That's very concerning. I mean, yeah, they looked scared. Straight up, they looked scared. That's what it is. They looked scared. I mean, tackle somebody. Not even Scatabo. Tackle somebody. Like, the missed tackles last night were egregious. I mean, on Wan'Dale Robinson's touchdown, what did he break? Like 2 tackles? There was 2 missed tackles on that touchdown. Maybe 3 going into the end zone. I mean, I don't understand that. Get the, whatever you want to call them, the tires out, whatever you want to call them. The rings, like, the tackling was egregious. Jackson Dart even, I mean, his scrambling, the way he was moving around in that pocket, the way that he was getting away from the Eagles' pass rush, like, that was unacceptable. Zach Bond missing that tackle, I'll talk about that in a little bit too. Like, I don't understand. The physicality tonight was just not there. It just wasn't there. The offensive line also, they got manhandled. They did. I mean, I know I just talked about them, but they're under this category too. Everything that I'm going to say is going to lead into one another tonight, so just bear with me. But that offensive line, I just talked about them. They're under physicality as well. And physicality is going to be under the next one, and defense is going to be under eye test. Like, this thing flows right into one another. It's a trickle effect here. That's where we're at right now. Yeah, I mean, just got manhandled. As far as physicality goes, the Giants were physical. They wanted it more. They were tough. The Eagles just looked like they didn't want to play football outside of a few players. Just looked like straight up they didn't want to play football. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Got to be physical. You got to be physical. It's the NFL. This is football. You have to be physical. That's how you win games, is physicality. A lot of times in the NFL, the more physical team wins, and that's what happened last night. The Giants were more physical. They wanted it more, and they came out on top. It is what it is. Like I said, we're spitting facts tonight, and those are the cold, hard facts. The Giants wanted it more. Even with tackling, like Keely Ringo, we're going to talk about him, though. We're going to go right into defense now, actually, because, like I said, it's a trickle effect here. Defense. The Eagles players did not show up on defense last night against the Giants. None of this defensive performance, to me at least, none of that was on Vic Fangio. Scheming-wise, was not a problem at all. He was spying up Dart, which you need to spy up him. with the ability that he has with his legs. Um, Scheme wise, I don't have any complaints. I mean, obviously, I'll go back and look at the film. I don't have access to the all 22, but um, I know where I can get a lot of clips of all 22. I'll go back, look at the film. But as far as watching the game, I don't think the scheming was a problem at all. Players just did not show up. Did not show up. Um, and the defense was bad. And I'm talking about, we'll get to the offense next, but I'm talking about the defense first. Zach Bond missing that tackle on Jackson Dart on his rushing touchdown was not Zach Bond at all. Like I said, that was Bond's job, was to spy Jackson Dart in that moment, and he failed to do so. Just got shook out of his boots, man. Like, that was insane. Insane by Zach Bond, missing that tackle. That was abnormal for sure. And then Keely Ringo forgetting how to tackle, and just the rules of football. Like, Ringo gave up a 20-yard reception to, I believe it was Wan'Dale Robinson, and then you don't even touch him when he hits the turf. That's football 1-on-1. You got to touch him when he goes down. This isn't college anymore. I know there's a lot of Georgia guys on this defense. You're not playing at Georgia no more. This is not college football. If that man is untouched when he goes down to the ground, you have to touch him. That was mind-blowing by me, or to me. Like, you're just standing there like mad at yourself for giving that catch up. No. No. You got to get over that. Dude ran for like 3 more yards. Touch him. If you're not going to cover him, at least touch him. And then speaking of Ringo, like, the secondary just wasn't good in coverage tonight at all. They weren't. I think the second half a little bit better, but I mean, and it started with Ringo. It really did. It started with Keely Ringo. I know, obviously, the Quinion Mitchell injury, that was probably one of the worst things to happen to this defense tonight, by the way that they were playing. If you don't know, Quinion Mitchell left the second quarter with a hamstring injury, and he did not return. That probably means he pulled a hammy. Obviously, don't know the timetable of his return. That's not important right now. We'll talk about that top of the week next week. But yeah, I mean, obviously, him leaving wasn't ideal, but secondary just wasn't good in coverage at all. That obviously left Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson to be your starting 2 corners. And hearing those 2 names as Eagles fans, you watch them every week, you really don't want Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson as your starting corners. You don't. Not both of them. The defensive front, pressure-wise, yeah, okay. But, I mean, the inability to lay a hand on Jackson Dart concerned me a lot. And this goes back to physicality. Like I said, trickle effect again. That should be the title of this episode, trickle effect. Off the Giants' offensive line, they were just more physical. They really were. The amount of times Jackson Dart was able to escape pressure was a big difference maker in this game as well. Yeah. And obviously the losses on defense, like, again, this is maybe another thing that you can take with a little bit of grain of salt. I think a huge loss was obviously the absence of Jalen Carter and his heel injury. Not having Nolan Smith has been impacting the pass rush tremendously. Nakobe Dean still not getting a snap. If I'm Vic Fangio, I am finding a way to put Nakobe Dean out on that field immediately. I know Vic Fangio said that he doesn't want Jahad Campbell playing edge. Whatever has to be done. If you got to move Jahad Campbell, I'm actually kind of begging him to move Campbell to edge or put Dean there. Put one of the two there. You need your dogs out on that defense, especially after tonight or last night. You do. So if I'm Vic Fangio, that's what I'm doing heading into next week, is figuring out how to get Nakobe Dean involved, because he needs to be back out there. Now, the final topic of this episode, the eye test. We got to be honest. We got to be honest about this football team. It's time to state the cold hard truth about this Eagles team. They look bad. They do. They look bad. I'm not going to go too far and say they are bad, but they definitely don't look good, especially after last night. They do not look good, and that's why this is called the eye test. Because based on the eye test, they do not look like a good football team right now. Obviously, one of their worst performances in recent years, for sure. Kind of can say it wasn't their night, but they don't look good. I remember mentioning in an episode after the Bucs game that there was a very hard truth about this team, and that it was they'd be 2-2 if it wasn't for special teams. Well, they'd be 2-5. If it wasn't for special teams. No, 2-4. My apologies. 2-4. If it wasn't for special teams. They don't look good. They damn sure don't look like the Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl champion that they are. Starts with the offense. Jalen Hurts tonight, or last night in that Giants game. A huge factor in this loss, particularly in the second half. Missing that bomb to Devontae Smith because he overthrew Devontae. I mean, that would have been a huge difference maker. That would have been a momentum killer for the Giants. You cannot miss that throw in that situation. That was a huge reason, a huge factor in losing this game, was that overthrow to Devontae Smith. And then the interception in the red zone in the fourth quarter. And you know Jalen. I mean, if you've paid attention to, how he answers questions, what he says in the media, obviously he's going to take full accountability for that. I don't doubt that at all. But, we got to be honest. When people aren't playing their best, and Jalen Hurts last night did not play his best. Kevin Patullo, I'm not going to go too hard on him. But why are you not going back to the things that are working? I think that is one of the most frustrating things in watching this Eagles team, is running something that works and then you don't go back to it. Like the two Saquon runs in the beginning on the opening drive. I don't understand it at all. Getting A.J. Brown involved in that first half was poetic. The way that they were able to do that. They were rolling. Also, why is 80 to 90% of this offense in gun formation? If you watch this offense, most of their offense is in gun formation. That literally gives away what you are running based on where Saquon is lining up. You're giving it away. It's predictable. You've heard me talk about predictable with this offense. It's predictable. Run empty formation. Run it more. The fact that Kevin Patullo does not identify and see how much of an advantage this offense has when they run empty and they go empty is very concerning. I'm not calling for him to be fired, but I don't know who needs listen, I don't know who needs to talk to him. Somebody does, though. Somebody does. Another guy I'm going to talk about real quick, A.J. Dillon, dropping that kick return after the third scoutable touchdown to put the Giants up 34-17, and then on that drive, you fumble the football while driving down the field with a little over 7 minutes left. On a drive where if you score, it gives you some type of life, you can't do that. Cannot do that in those situations. Cannot. And then the defense. I already talked about them. I'm not going to say too much anymore, but if I'm Vic Fangio, I'm running Oklahoma drills with everyone on defense and the offensive line for the next week. I remember when I grew up playing football in high school, when our team couldn't tackle one game, straight Oklahoma drills. Go old school on them, Fangio. Who cares? Toughen these boys up, man. At this point. At this point. Another note with the defense also, like I said, Keely Ringo, Dory Jackson were your starting corners tonight because Quinion Mitchell got injured. The Jags just traded Tyson Campbell for Greg Newsome II. Both of those corners were top 2 trade candidates I listed for Philly before the season started. Howie Roseman, does that open your eyes up enough? Does it? Yeah, you go and waste 2 draft picks for Tank Bigsby. I forgot Tank Bigsby was on the team. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Heading into next week, obviously they have the Vikings. And then you got the Giants again after Minnesota. I expect that game to be a lot more different. But heading into next week, we're going to find out a lot about this Eagles team following this loss and who they are. We are. A lot. A hard look in the mirror is to be had. Very hard. That's it for this episode. One thing I want to start incorporating is either answering viewers' questions or just kind of recapping, going over viewers' comments and thoughts. If you are watching this video, please comment every thought you have, every question you have. I want that to start being a reoccurring thing, at least maybe once or twice a week. We can get, this last, I'm pointing the wrong way here. You see this last little thing on the ticker where eye test is? If we can get viewers' comments and questions, I would like that a lot. So if you're watching this video, if you watch any recent episodes, things like that, just comment your thoughts and all your questions. Every thought you have, every question you have, comment them. I want that to try to be a thing where I go over for you guys. So, yeah. As always, stay up to date with Eagles latest on Fan Arch. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.